give me whatever this function returned. Okay, and let's see what it returned. 60. Correct. In fact, let's simplify this. Let's just have a function that returns pi. So a is a function. If I just do console log a, it's just going to print a function, right? A is the function. If I call a, it's going to return to me, this will turn into this. Okay? So a runs, this runs, it returns this, which comes back and replaces it. Yes?
Why do we need a function? What is function? We can just delete it, right?
We can just what?
Delete the function.
Uh-huh.
And will it still work?
If you mean if you do this?
Yes.
No. See? It didn't work. You might be referring to ES6 syntax, this stuff, but that's, I don't want to teach you that. Just learn this one. Okay, forget what I just showed you. Is this part okay? Yes? Okay, so now let's go back to this function. Now, one of the things that you may have learned in math class when talking about functions is that functions typically take like an x and return a y, right? F of x returns some y. And the reason why you want to do that is because x changes depending on where you are, right? Having a function that always assumes base is going to be 10 and height is going to be 12 is not very reusable. Suppose I want to get the area of a triangle whose base and height are different from 10 and 12. Suppose I want one whose area is 5 and 6. What would I do then? I would have to write another function, right? I would have to do this. Make this a 8-1. Sus! I would have to do this. I would have to have, yes, got 5 and 6. And then if now I can run A1 and then get 15. But can you imagine writing this much code every time you want to compute? It's ridiculous, right? It's not very smart. So there must be a better way to do this. And sure enough, there is. Remember this area here, this hole. I told you that we can, pass values into it just as well as we can get a value out of it. Remember this? Okay, so let's pass a value into it. When we call it, this is me calling it, let me pass values inside. Let me pass a 5 and a 6. This is me putting 5 and 6 into this hole. 5 and 6. This hole is this hole. And I'm putting in 5 and a 6. Joking? Okay. I put in the 5 and the 6, and somehow that 5 and the 6 have to come into the function. Hang on, I don't need A1 anymore. Somehow this function has to receive the 5 and the 6, right? How do we do that? Here's what we do. Instead of doing this, we get rid of this. And instead we write here, base and height. And what happens? This 5 goes in and gets the name base, and this 6 goes in and gets the name height. And so base is now 5, height is now 6. This runs with 5 and 6, and you get the area of 5, with 5 and 6 as the base and height. If I want, so if I hang on. So this was 5 and 6, right? Let me get rid of this. So currently it's 15. If I want to get a different area, if I want to get an area of 10 and 6, no problem. In that case, 10 goes into base and 6 goes into height. Yes, sir?
Can't you just write the numbers instead of the word space and height?
Write numbers?
Yeah.
Do you mean this? So here you write 10?
Yeah, like in the verse.
Step?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Is staying just good? But what is base? Basing? values, base and height. Okay? You don't know what values I'm going to give you. Right? I might give you different values. I might give you 30 and 5. I might give you 25 and 90. You don't know the values up front. If you don't know the values up front, how are you going to know what values to put in here? Հասկանաս չէ։ Դու չգիտես արժեքները, դրա համար անում ես տալիս, ասում ես ինչ արժեք որ կա, ես կտամ իր համապատասխան անունը։ Ու կոդը կգրեմ ըստ այդ անունների։ Այդ ժամանակ ինչ արժեք կա, իմ կոդը կաշխատի։ Very good. So the order matters. Exactly. This is the point. If you were to do 610, now base is 6 and height is 10. Now in this equation, actually because you're multiplying, order doesn't matter. It's true. But suppose now, let me write a different function. Let's write a function that concatenates first name and last name. Okay? So first of all, how do I create a function? Tell me. Whatever, func, or let's say full name. Let's call it full name. And then? What are the values that I'm going to take as input? You tell me. First name and last name, right? To then return a full name. So let's do first name and last name. Okay? Hang on, let me, sorry, 1 sec. Hey, never mind then. Okay. First name, last name. Then I need a beginning and end to my function. What do I do? Curly braces. Good. Now I need to return something, right? I need to return a value from the other side. Return. What do I return?
First name or last name.
Then? Science? Plus. Science? Science? Cool. Okay, so now I have this full name. Now let me const fn, full name, is full name. There. What does fn have now? Why? Because all I did was take this function and assign it to...
We didn't call.
Exactly. I have to call full name. So let me call it. How do I call a function? Why? What arguments did I pass in to the function here? Nothing. So what is the value of first name? Nothing. Undefined. What is the value of last name? Nothing. Undefined. So I got undefined plus undefined, which is why we got undefined, undefined. Let me instead give it a value for first name. What's a value for first name? Adam, of course. Now Adam went into first name, and we got Adam and concatenated with what was in last name?
Undefined.
Nothing, which is why we got Adam undefined. So let's pass an MP3. And now we get, so Adam goes into first name, MP3 goes into last name, and we get Adam MP3. Let me call this function again now. Instead of assigning it to a variable, into a constant, let me just call it immediately. And let me call it again with something else. Let me call it Joe MP4. Nice. There you go. You see how I can now reuse the same function and simply change its behavior by passing in different values. Yes, sir. Returnից հետո Էսրա հետ է, semicolon հետ է։ Էսրա։ Էս անպայն հակագիծորն է։ Չհասկացա, դուք հասկացաք։
First name-ից առաջ ու last name-ից հետո։
Էսրա հետ է։ Ստեղ։ Okay, first name is a variable. It is a name of a value, right?
I was asking
What?
if we should put parentheses before first name and after last name.
Oh, Oh, you mean this? You mean this? Fine. No problem. You can do that. Կարող ես, no problem. Նեի աշխատես։ Խնդիր չկա։ Ու դա մանավանդ անում ես, եթե ուզում ես այս խմբակարվի, եթե իր operation ես անում։ Մաթեմի պես։ Այս ալը հետո։ Cool. Not bad. We covered functions in like 20 minutes. Good. All right. Okay, let's take a photo and go home. All right, խտացեք։ Let's get